Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got into this situation, how it all began, how I got into this wacky hobby called cosplay. I first came across cosplay in the early 2010s. During this time, I was in high school, but I was yet into anime or other geeky things. However, I often rewatched childhood cartoons and British cartoons whenever I got home from school, and I dreamed of becoming a voice actor, or at least someone who can entertain and portray characters. In fact, lending my voice to an animated character is my main goal in life, and that's why you see me do random skits on my channel. My classmates were big on anime, comic books, and gaming. One of them was actually a cosplayer himself and cosplayed from anime and video games. I at first assumed it was just a costume he would wear for Halloween, or at this event they would like to call Fanime. I have seen him share pictures of himself while he is in costume, and photos of other people in costume he ran into at Fanime. While it seemed like he was having a good time, I was indifferent back then because my first priority was studying and getting through high school. One day during my senior year in high school, I took a trip to Seattle. While I was there, coincidentally, there was this Comic Con that was going on called Emerald City Comic Con. When I passed by the convention center, I saw many people dressed up. I even saw a Heath Ledger Joker cosplayer walking around Pike Street. I was inspired, and it felt like something that not only could make me happy, but it could make other people happy as well. When I got back to school, I asked my cosplaying friend what cosplaying at the convention felt like to him. He seemed enthused, though he warned me that I would be hugged a lot, and he pointed to a past experience at a convention where he was hugged at too tightly. Getting into cosplay seemed easy at first. However, there were two barriers to me starting cosplay that I felt I had to overcome. First, I wasn't familiar with anime, besides watching Pokemon, Sonic X, Digimon, and Spirited Away during my childhood. I didn't watch some of the current cartoons enough, and I only knew comic book characters from their movie adaptations. The other barrier I had was that I've never been to an anime or comic convention, and I was not sure if I would enjoy going to one. So it was time for me to start watching anime and some of the current cartoons just to see what cosplay I could do. And I did end up watching and enjoying anime such as Azumanga Daioh, Madoka Magica, and one of my personal favorites, Neon Genesis Evangelion. I also watched cartoons such as Adventure Time, Regular Show, and Gravity Falls. Man, those days were great. In addition to it being the summer of the World Cup in Brazil, it was also the summer where I went to my first convention. It was a toy convention in Santa Rosa that I saw advertising on a billboard. As I got to the convention, I browsed around the convention center the same way I would browse around the new area in open world video games such as GTA. I found many cool things, such as merchandise you would not get at Target or even Hot Topic, and, you guessed it, people wearing cosplay. Even though it was a small toy convention, I had a blast seeing everything and I wanted to go to another convention. Fast forward to almost a year later when I was about to finish my first year of community college, I decided to attend FanimeCon. Originally, I was not planning to cosplay as I was unsure if I wanted to start. I was more focused on getting over my social anxiety over wearing graphic t-shirts of my favorite series in public. On the first day, I went with my former high school classmates and I had a blast. As usual, my cosplaying friend was cosplaying at Fanime. It was packed in a way that I felt like I was in London. I recognized so many cosplay from series such as Adventure Time, Code Geass, and Soul Eater. There was a lot of merchandise that I found that previously I could only find in places such as Japantown, San Francisco. One merch I ended up getting was a Dipper Pines hat, because like I mentioned earlier, I was into Gravity Falls. Overall, I spent 4 to 5 hours on my first AnimeCon day, because I had to go home and had to prepare for the next day. On the way home,
I got it!
I thought of an idea. Remember that Dipper Pines hat I bought? Well, I thought maybe if I had a jacket vest, gray shorts, and a red t-shirt, I could cosplay Dipper the next day. When I got home, I looked to see if the clothes I need are there. And it turns out I found some that work. I found gray shorts, a black jacket vest, even though Dipper Pines' jacket vest is navy blue, and red shirts. The problem is, all my red shirts have graphics on the front, and I'm gonna have to wear them inside out. The question is, am I gonna do it? I ended up cosplaying to Fanime while wearing a t-shirt inside out.
What?
And no, I didn't forget about Dipper's Big Dipper birthmark on my forehead. Guess how I drew it on? I used a red marker. When I first arrived, one of my friends noticed that I was wearing it inside out, and I said it was part of the cosplay. Luckily, no one else did the rest of the day, so like the day before, me and my friends walked around the convention. Suddenly, I got my first reaction. It was a random young lady who wanted to see my cosplay and she wanted a selfie. I ended up seeing other Gravity Falls cosplayers, including this giant Bill Cipher cosplay. This humanized Bill Cipher cosplayer was shouting at me from a distance in character. "Hey Pine Tree, why are you ignoring me?" And another Bill Cipher cosplayer who had the sock puppets of the Pines twins. I also had a brony phase at this time, and I saw a Discord cosplayer at the con, and I bro-hooped all the MLP cosplayers I saw. Side note, I actually went to a brony convention earlier that year, and this is what I looked like. Prior to my 2 days at Fanime, I don't think I ever had that much fun in my life. When I got back home, I knew I wanted to go to another convention as soon as possible so I could do this fun hobby again. I ended up watching a lot of cosplay advice and tutorial videos that taught me about making cosplay, if it's okay for me to buy cosplays, and one that convinced me to wear makeup, which is the reason why I wear makeup all the time for my cosplays to this day. I also browsed on American Cosplay Experience / Paradise. I did end up going to SAC Anime on Labor Day weekend later that year. I improved my Dipper Pines cosplay by finding a red shirt that was hidden, getting a jacket vest that matched the color of Dipper's, made journal too, and even painted a pair of white socks to look more like Dipper's. I went for 2 days, and on the second day, I went to a Gravity Falls cosplay meetup, which was the first cosplay meetup I ever attended. Prior to the meetup, I was asked, "Come join us" by fellow cosplayers, and I chilled with them sitting on the hallway of the second floor. As usual, I had a blast attending the meetup and the con. Throughout the months that followed SAC Anime, I eventually learned to do makeup and hand sew, and the rest is history. And there you have it, the origin story of how I got into cosplay. How did you get into cosplay? What was your first cosplay? Let me know in the comments below, and with that, see you in the next video.